But I think the idea of courage and excellence is right at the very core of exploring the rest of the universe, actually of exploration itself. And it makes me think, actually, why be brave? You know, courage and bravery are somewhat synonymous. Why be brave? You know, why would you do that? Why would you ever want to summon courage within yourself? And to me, the whole fundamental idea is, what is worth taking a risk for? That's kind of the real question of courage. And obviously, if there's some dramatic sense of circumstance, you know, you come across a burning car and there's someone trapped inside. If you are not brave right now, that person's going to die. You folks, of course, face life and death in your business, in the very nature of what healthcare is. The idea of when is it worth not just helping somebody else, but taking a risk yourself. What in life is worth taking a risk for? And therefore, deliberately choosing to need courage, deliberately choosing to be brave. And I'm not a thrill seeker by any means. I do not like adrenaline in my veins. To me, adrenaline is nature's way of saying, you screwed up, and you got one thing left, and that's running fast. So here's some adrenaline. You can't, you know, it's going to do you harm, but it'll get you to do something crazy for a little while. You can, you know, run away from the saber-toothed tiger or whatever. Boy, you sure don't want an astronaut who is flying a spaceship based purely on adrenaline. You know, what you need instead is to have decided, this is a risk worth taking. I am going to fly a rocket ship. It's a dangerous thing, but I'm going to do it because, to me, this is a risk worth taking in life. Exploring the rest of everything. Starting to push back the edges of our ignorance. Use the absolute pinnacle of our excellence, of what we can do together to start to understand the rest of everything else and how we fit into it. To me, that's worth taking a risk for. And so I decided as a kid that this is what I want to do. It's really right at the edge of what our excellence can allow us to do, to maybe build a machine that will take us off the planet and let us start to go see things with our naked eyes that we were otherwise forbidden to see, unable to gather the perspective. And so I set myself the goal when I was 9 years old, the summer of '69, here in Southern Ontario, when I watched on July 20th, late at night, when I watched Neil and Buzz walk on the moon. I thought, you know, I'm going to grow up to be something. Why don't I grow up to be that? That's the coolest thing ever. But of course, Canada did not have an astronaut program. We didn't even have a space agency. So I decided at 9 years old to do something that was impossible, just by definition. That's impossible. It doesn't exist. But that day, July 20th, when I woke up on that morning, nice summer's day here in Southern Ontario, it was impossible to walk on the moon. No one had ever done it. But we had challenged ourselves as a species to see how far excellence could take us. And by bedtime on that day, Neil and Buzz were walking on the moon. And what that showed me as a little kid was that impossible things happen. And they happen sometimes because for the first time in history, they just barely can. And they happen as the result of an enormous amount of extremely hard human work that gives us a new definition of where excellence can take us. For me, as a little 9-year-old here, it was like somebody sort of just opening a door and saying, hey, no one else is going to choose whether you go through that door or not. It's completely up to you. Are you going to have enough courage, and are you going to become excellent enough to maybe to be able to do that? And so I just gave myself that as a long-term goal at 9 years old. And I needed something specific. So I said to myself, I'm going to walk on the moon. and I needed a timeline. It's really important if you have a goal to give yourself a deadline, otherwise you never get anything done. And I said, I'm going to walk on the moon by the time I'm 45. I still haven't walked on the moon, so I'm a failure, I guess. And I don't know how I chose 45. It seemed like indescribably old. But the beauty of doing that, of being given that gift, which was the space race, to me as a kid, was it showed me impossible things happen. It showed me that they are not by chance, that they are the result of an enormous amount of work. And it really put the onus back on me, saying it's up to you what you want to get out of this. And it gave me a long-term goal in life. This is what I want to do. If everything goes perfectly in my life, this is what I'm going to do. And the beauty of giving yourself that, right at the very essence of the courage to be excellent, by giving yourself your own personal definition of perfection. If everything goes just, have you ever thought about it? What am I doing right now with my life, with my family, with my work? If everything goes exactly as we are doing it, where's it going to take us? What are we going to be doing 5 years from now? Or whatever, or when you're 45, or whatever. How are your current summary of actions leading you to what it is that you truly want to accomplish? And of course, it's not uniform. And of course, there's all sorts of dead ends and obligations and things in your life. But to me, one of the best gifts you can give yourself is a personal definition of perfection. Of after, whatever, end of today, end of this week, end of 2015, by 2020, whatever, I want to be able to do this. I want this to have happened in my life. And by giving yourself that goal, and in my case, when I was 9, the beauty of that is it really helps you decide what to do next. From being a little kid in a box, dreaming about someday what might be possible if I'm willing to have enough courage, and then constantly trying to choose the next thing to do in life, the constant whittling of this particular block of raw material to try and turn it into something that might someday be good enough and excellent enough to have a chance to do something as magnificent as leaving the Earth. Thank you very much.